welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, Sunday Politics live on Channel Television. I'm Sean Kimbalwe here in Abuja. Tonight, let's bring you up to speed with what is gradually getting out of hand, and it is in Osun State, southwest Nigeria, where the governor of the state, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has raised an alarm that the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Boyega Oyetola, is planning to cause mayhem in the state from Monday, February 17, 2025. The governor made the allegation during a press conference today in Ede. Governor Adeleke believes that former Governor Oyetola is spearheading moves to enforce a court order which reversed the sack of local council chairman elected on a platform of the All Progressives Congress APC in the state. Take a listen to Senator Adeleke earlier today.
We have it on good authority that Mr. Boyega Oyetola has instructed the Osun State Commissioner of Police, the State Director of DSS, and the State Commander of Civil Defense Corps to mobilize security operatives from within Osun State, effect the non-existing judgment by forcefully taking over the local government on Monday. Mr. Oyetola and the police boss have been holding a series of meetings on how to effect the illegal operations. We affirm that Mr. Boyega Oyetola has no constitutional authority to issue directive to the security agencies. The fact that Mr. Oyetola is nephew of Mr. President does not confer any such authority on him. We see this as a gross betrayal of trust reposed in the Osun State security officers by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I want to state that the current nefarious activities of Mr. Oyetola and bosses of Osun Security Agency constitute great incitement. By instructing the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of DSS, the Commandant General of Civil Defense, comes not to obey an illegal order from his nephew, Mr. Boyega Oyetola.
These are strong allegations coming from the governor of the state against his predecessor, Boyega Oyetola. But let's begin our very first conversation, because tonight there are a lot of startling and very concerning issues that we'll be discussing tonight. There are those who are planning to bring illegal, or who bring in the habit of bringing illegal drugs into Nigeria, killing millions of people because of these illegal drugs. And you will see a lot of the raids by NAFDAC and in Onitsha, in Lagos, about 3,000 shops shot. And there are some planned market riots that they claim against the action of NAFDAC. But NAFDAC is saying that there are troubling statistics and moves by people bringing in illegal drugs. And in fact, not only NAFDAC, we've seen also that other agencies of government are also clamping down on those who are bringing illegal or fake drugs into Nigeria. But tonight, we'll begin with what has become a startling development, where U.S. Congressman Scott Perry has raised serious concerns that funds from USAID may be inadvertently supporting terrorist organizations like Boko Haram in Nigeria. This allegation comes amidst ongoing efforts by the U.S. to assist Nigeria in combating insurgency, including a $5 million contribution to a multinational task force aimed at countering Boko Haram. However, investigations have now revealed that Boko Haram often evades international financial tracking by using human couriers and local funding sources, making it challenging to ensure that aid funds are not misappropriated. The U.S. government has previously expressed difficulties in monitoring Boko Haram finances due to their reliance on cash transactions and limited use of formal banking systems. These revelations underscore the complexities involved in providing foreign aid to regions plagued by insurgency and highlight the need for stringent oversight mechanism to prevent the diversion of aid funds to terrorist activities. But with events of past days, there are implications. Or what do these implications mean in the fight against insurgency war in Nigeria? Tonight, let me remind you, for those of you who missed out on the program on Friday, let me remind you of what that congressman, the U.S. lawmaker, said about USAID, the funding, and how it also affects Nigeria and Boko Haram activities. These allegations are heavy. Take a listen to him.
We spent $697 million of the taxpayers' dollars in Afghanistan, including $534,719,000 in change from USAID in Afghanistan. I don't know what we think we're going to change in Afghanistan. We lost 22,000, lost or wounded 22,500 Americans in Afghanistan over the course of our term there in the war, spending over $2 trillion. We're just going to keep on spending because somehow we think it's going to get better. And if you're wondering who's in charge of Afghanistan getting the money, and that money I just mentioned, the $697 million is on top of, and is in addition to the weekly to every 10-day shipments in cash of $40 to $80 million. Afghanistan is ruled by folks named Sarajuddin Haqqani. Haqqani network mean anything to anybody in the room? How about Abdullah bin Laden? Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the program under Operation Enduring Sentinel, entitled Women's Scholarship Endowment, which receives $60 million annually, or the Young Women Lead, which gets about $5 million annually, is going to women who, by the way, if you read the Inspector General's report, is telling you that the Taliban does not allow women to speak in public. Yet somehow you're believing, and American people are supposed to believe, that this money is going for the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan, because Pakistan's right next door. USAID spent $840 million in the last 20 years on Pakistan's education-related program. It includes $136 million to build 120 schools, of which there is zero evidence that any of them were built. Why would there be any evidence? The Inspector General can't get in to see them. But you know what? We doubled down and spent $20 million from USAID to create educational television programs for children unable to attend the physical school. Yeah.
Those are the words of the U.S. lawmaker, Scott Perry. And this was an inquisition into the activities of USAID, and there's been some kind of a clampdown or so on that organization, that aid organization, since President Donald Trump got back into office. Tonight, I'm being joined by a former chair of the Committee on the Army in the Senate, and senator representing Borno State, one of the states that is hard hit by Boko Haram, and one senator that knows so much about the activities of this organization based on the impact on its communities and the communities within its senatorial district. Senator Ali Ndume is live for us here in our studio. Thanks so much, Senator, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much,
Senator. These are heavy allegations, perhaps not verifiable at the moment because they're not coming from sources from the American government directly or the agencies of American government, but these allegations coming from a United States congressman, a lawmaker in the United States. How worried are you about those information, especially because Boko Haram as an organization is being mentioned in all of this inquisition?
This development is
as you said, is very worrisome, especially because one of the organizations, the terrorist organization mentioned by Scott Perry, is Boko Haram. And Boko Haram has ravaged not only the northeast, but even Nigeria. You can remember Boko Haram bombed the police headquarters and the UN office in Abuja here. And the casualties is enormous. So Nigerian government must be interested, and I'm worried. But the Nigerian security agencies have raised this indirectly several times. And even the Borno state government was wary of the operations of the NGOs. And I remember during the period of Buratai, Nigerian Army got intelligence and even raided at one time the Office of United USAID or United Nations in Maiduguri. You remember that? And there was a time also the governor, got intelligence and raided into one NGO that were training or providing training to some of their staff on how to use guns. And we have been wondering for all these years, where are these people getting this money that they do, besides the raid and the kidnapping that they do? And it's worrisome. And now that the United States congressman came out, Scott Perry, to speak about this, he can't say it's just an allegation. It's more than that. And that's why Nigerian government and the National Assembly especially needs to look into it to investigate and verify the veracity of such weighty, very weighty allegation. You remember what Boko Haram did. I wanted to give the public a remembrance of the figures that we lost. You know, Boko Haram killed several people, destroyed several properties, displaced many people, and then cut off the source of livelihood to most of our people. Statistically, they say it's about 50,000 people have lost their life, but I guess these are the figures that are accountable. But 2.5 million people or above have been displaced. Right now, we have up to 400,000 people from the Bay State, Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe displaced in Niger, Cameroon, and Chad, even now. And more than 1 million children are out of school in the Northeast, especially the Bay State. The Bay State is Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. And you remember the case of the Chibok girls, 276 of them were abducted. And up to now, we did not find all of them. We find most of them, actually. And when you look at the figures, it's worrisome. Scott Perry said, at one time, they're spending $697 million, and that translates into over 1 trillion naira. And when you see the operations, the modus operandi of this Boko Haram, you're going to think they must be getting their supplies.
And you suspect that this could also be funds from USAID, but you cannot say authoritatively if
No, that is what Scott is doing now, and his subcommittee on DOGED, that is Department of Government Efficiency. They started the inaugural hearing was on Thursday, that is the day before yesterday. What I'm saying is the Nigerian government should be interested.
How do you think the Nigerian government should tackle this or handle this?
Well, first thing is I'm planning to bring a motion on Tuesday, if allowed, a matter of urgent national importance, to set up a strong committee so that our security agencies like the Office of the NSA, the DIA, the DSS will be involved, because that's part of their responsibility. It's not only internal security. And since the government now is the one investigating the US aid, I'm sure they will cooperate, or they will even be, I think, extend their investigation to find out from here where the action is as to the veracity of such weighty allegation.
Senator, and this comes as though there are some kind of distrust in the good intention some of these organizations aid funding from USAID and different international funding agency or organization have come to help vulnerable communities, people who are in need of help, scholarships and all whatnot across the globe. But when these kind of allegations come, there are those who will say maybe somehow some governments have used this as espionage on other governments or other countries of the world to advance the interests of their own country. Do you worry that this may also have a link or be some kind of espionage?
Well, as I said, it is only through investigation, thorough investigation, that you get to this level. But all I'm saying is that the security and welfare of Nigerian citizens is the responsibility of the government. It is not responsibility of any other government or any other country. So this issue of relying on aids from other countries is not even good for us, because Nigeria by now is supposed to be the one that is giving out aids, not the one receiving aids. So why don't we, I think this is like a wake-up call for all of us to stand up the government. We have everything. We have everything. The only problem is in the leadership. And I think we need to fix that one so that we'll tap into what we have and be contented with it. I remember that in those days, the foreigners are coming here to even teach in secondary school and even primary schools as expatriates. But now Nigerians are struggling to go outside the country and to be slaves, so to say. That is doing some dirty jobs in order to survive. And you see, even Nigerians are struggling to be what they are not. What I mean by that is that most of the Nigerians that you have that are opportune or they call themselves elites are not truly even Nigerians, because they are half Nigerians, like you.
I'm full-blood
No.
Nigerian.
You have 2 passports.
No, I don't. I have one.
No.
A green. I have green passport.
You are a resident in America. I know that.
You have diplomatic
I can
passport.
see you are shocked, you know.
No.
Many of you guys are like that.
No.
You hold 2 passports. Many government officers hold 2 passports.
Do you have a diplomatic passport?
I have a diplomatic passport, but I don't have any passport. I don't have any visa in it. I can ask my listener to bring it now. I don't have visa to anywhere. I'm a true full Nigerian, and that is how everybody is supposed to be. Let's make Nigeria work.
Senator,
so we don't need any aid.
And I agree, because I said this on this program yesterday that Nigeria needs to be respected. I make reference to what Canada and the issue with the CDS and what the NSA said, and there might be some things that are not properly done that may have caused what happened with the CDS and his team that was supposed to travel to Canada. But the big question, as you mentioned, is the fact that we have got a lot that Nigeria need to rely on. But the big question here, the impact of what is being said, whether foolproof or not, the NSA's office, the presidency, apart from what you and your colleagues will be doing in the National Assembly, are there specifics into how this should be handled?
First of all, you brought about the CDS drama and how the NSA reacted or overreacted. In the first place, there's no doubt that that is a kind of disrespect to Nigeria. But you have to respect yourself first. If I were the CDS, on their invitation, they invited them. They should have written to them, inviting them. And it is that letter of invitation, I don't know whether they did that they would have used to ask for visa. And it should be clear. If they don't get the visa, they don't go. And I'm happy the CDS is not worried about it. But if you don't respect yourself that much, this is what happens. I can't imagine it. How can the CDS of Nigeria, a country that is known and the most populous and ranked top, and we have been contributing to international engagements, denied visa, and what they wanted to do was to go and attend the whatever of
in honor of the fallen heroes,
that is
fallen soldiers.
So I can understand why the NSA was very angry. But for me, as I said, let's be Nigerians. I don't go anywhere, and I'm a senator. For the past 15, 20 years, I've been in the National Assembly. I don't go anywhere. I don't need to go anywhere. Nigeria is my country. We have everything. We don't need to embarrass ourselves.
Let me ask you, Senator, what are your people telling you? I see pictures of you with the local communities. And some of the reports that we get on the ground as to the veracity or of foreign influence or backing or funding of this terrorist organization on Nigerian soil. What do the locals tell you as to some of the scraps of information that we could gather?
And that's why I said we were suspicious even before now. The CDS, the COAS, the Chief of Air Staff, all of them have served in one time in the theater, what they call it the theater, that is in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe, which is the epitome of Boko Haram. And they have been suspicious about the activities of the NGOs in those states. Because if you see even their vehicle, they will draw AK-47 and cross it, that there's no gun. But they go to people with gun. And then they go unsupervised. They don't want to account to the state governor. They don't want to account to anybody. I understand they don't even account to ministry here in the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian, where they are supposed to be working together jointly and, reporting. So we have been suspicious of their activities, even though we needed that help. But then not at the expense of the security of our people. As I told you, the statistics we have is that over 50,000 people have been killed. Over 2.5 million people have been displaced. And right now, as I'm speaking to you, we have refugees, Nigerian refugees, in Niger, Chad, and Cameroon for 10 years. And this thing continues unabated. In fact, recently, when I went home, they killed, I think, 6 people as a result of the use of AIDs. They told me that these people came with new Toyota Hilux, and this they call it Samsara, or that, and that are not common here in Nigeria. They have new AK-47, and as I told you, at one time, you see Boko Haram with AK-49 and brand new rifles. And they don't have airport. They don't have a seaport. Why you think that is being smuggled through the... So the activities are actually something that the Nigerian government needs to be interested, especially with this revolution.
So the question here
investigate.
Is, if there are no funding heavily from external forces or internal forces, you don't think that Boko Haram would have festered for this long?
Yeah. And besides, not only that, even if they don't have funding, our own security agencies must be properly funded.
To be able
and
to
they are
counter
spending,
them.
yes, and their spending or budget allocation should not be discretionary. It should be something that if you budget 1 million for the army and you release the money, if you cannot release the 1 million naira at go, you have to release it maybe twice, 500,000. That's the example. As I did now, if they have 4 trillion, security is very important. Give the security agencies, Nigerian Army, Air Force, Police, SS, and all the security agencies, give them their money at a go. And that is what is killing their job. And the money should be enough for them to work. I hear Mr. President giving them this thing that they have to get rid of this in 1 year. You can't get rid of it in 1 year without giving them the money.
But let me ask you, why do you think that these dissidents, these terrorists are still operating?
Because they have money.
Several years later?
Yeah, because they believe in what they are doing and they have been funded, as you said. If they don't have the funds, if they don't have, when the Nigerian army, what they did last 2 years, and that's why it went down, is that they tried to block the supplies. That's why they have to come and be scavenging. In these days, in my local government, even, you know, when people go to their farms on their bicycles, they have to gather them in one place and have the security, you know, guarding the bicycles. When they finish with their farms, they come to one location to pick their bicycles to come back home. They steal bicycles. They steal food.
But there are no, in Borno State, for example, in your senatorial district, Boko Haram is not holding any territory.
No, not to say, but they
go and come back.
Yeah, what they do is hit and run, and in fact, they have their own route that is known. We have 3 black spots: the Sambisa, the Lake Chad area, and of course the Mandara Mountains. Boko Haram is that; those are the 3 black spots, and their number have gone down. Their level of attack has gone down. But these days, I'm worried, and that is because the Chadian government and the Niger government have sacked virtually, to say, Boko Haram, except for those that are coming from Mali, Burkina Faso, and so. But in those their areas bordering Nigeria, they make sure they push them out, and that is the result of us having problem in Northwest now. The Lakura, what did they call them?
The Lakurawa.
The Lakurawa. You understand? And in Borno, those that are in the Lake Chad fringes, and thank God, you know what? Just a few days or 3 days ago, they are fighting themselves. The ISWAP and Boko Haram are fighting. In one of their encounter, I understand they lost casualties, a lot of casualties.
On both sides? On
both sides. And so when the Nigerian army took advantage of that also, you know, to go after them, I believe strongly that if the Nigerian army or the Nigerian security agencies are well funded, especially with this team now, Christopher, Abubakar, and Olorere. These are people that know that terrain, know what it takes.
There have been a lot of efforts by leaders within the region, and I'm wondering, are these efforts really yielding results? I'm talking about northern leaders, religious leaders, political leaders. Is there truth in the effort in quenching or ending permanently this scourge that is affecting the local communities?
Nobody wants insecurity. The elders have been talking, the elders have been supportive, but that's the best they can do. These people are out there, they don't listen to elders. In fact, they kill elders. Some of them kill even their parents.
And they're still using innocent citizens in the state, isn't it? They're still converting them for Boko Haram purposes.
Well, for that one, we have small incidences of even the repentant Boko Haram going back again. We have those incidences. But normally, the funding has gone down and the supplies have cut off, but even now they still infiltrate the people. I think they recruit more of informants than the foot soldiers now. Their number is going down. Not many people, unlike before when they had a lot of money, they come and rob banks and all that. That time they normally incise people, and as time goes, people understand the public is doing its best in trying to educate the youths and discourage them, and they have seen that this life of being in the bush for all this time without integrating into your society will not help. But as I said, the key is fund Nigerian army.
So on a final note, Senator, you look at it, and I'm wondering, those who are funding terror, the government has said it that they will name names of those who are funding terror.
Why I don't name, and that is my particular concern. You know, when Scott Perry mentioned that, I remember that at one time there was a list.
Yeah. Under the Buhari government, when Lai Mohammed said there are lists of those who are funding terror in Nigeria, do you know some of these people who are funding them, Senator?
I don't know.
They said they are very influential people.
So, but then
to what end are they doing that?
I don't know. But and I don't even understand why are they doing that kind of a thing. But the most important is that at one time it was mentioned that they even arrested. I think it was this Beirut Change people that are involved in funding terrorism. Why are they getting the money? Nobody said anything, and that was it. you know, and even those that were arrested, you just hear the arrest and to some extent parade them, and that's it. I mean, I think we should be more serious than that in terms of addressing, and our security agencies, I interact a lot with them. They are even frustrated.
The Borno model, are you in support of it?
Which one?
How to cut off the local recruitment into Boko Haram.
Yes.
Are you in support of the Borno model? The involvement of governors in how you can douse
of course, what my governor or that of Borno State, and in fact even that of Yobe and the Bay States, they are doing their best in terms of, because they are, of course, they are the chief security officers, but as you can see, they involve the locals, the hunters, and then they do a lot of empowerment, engagement with the youth. But as I said, the remaining balance is to get rid of the Boko Haram in wherever they are, especially the 3 black spots. And what you need to do, and the Lakuras there, is what you need to do is to fund the Nigerian army. It's team.
Yeah.
Team. Training, equipment, ammunition, and motivation. Let me tell you what. And a private soldier from Port Harcourt, from Bayelsa, you take him to Borno or Goza and pay him 50,000 naira. And then you pay him 1,500 naira as a daily distance for his food. 1,500 naira. How do you expect them? Senator, and they don't have the number.
Senator, for some, I mean, the Boko Haram activity, and this is a final note and quickly too, for someone that has personally felt the pain these activities of Boko Haram, of course, you don't forget that you have once been accused of activities of Boko Haram, you were being tried. And I want to speak as though President Tinubu is hearing you tonight. What is coming from the United States about this issue of funding? If you had to tell the president one truth about this issue of Boko Haram and how to end it, what would it be?
If I have the right approach, I will be on my own. You know what I mean by that? Nigeria has all it takes not to go and kneel down or to take a pan to beg anybody. Let us face our problem. Let us be efficient. Let us provide the good leadership. In fact, left to me, the president, learning from Donald Trump, should have a department of doggy too in the SGS office. There should be Department of Government Efficiency. You know why? The problem of this government is not Tinubu. The problem of the government is inefficiency. We have a budget and he signed on to it last year. Only 30%, that is even if they achieve that, are being implemented. He brought an ambitious budget now of 54 trillion. And we are in February already. If they cannot implement 37 trillion in 12 months, how can they implement 54 trillion in 1 year? Going by that means that it will take 2 years for them to implement this budget.
Thank you so much. Senator Ali Ndume, Senator representing Borno North in the National Assembly. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
We take a break, everyone, but when we return, the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, will be joining us next. There's been heavy raids by NAFDAC in Onitsha, in Lagos State, and in several parts of the country. The fear of fake drugs and some dangerous food item is gripping a lot of Nigeria, and NAFDAC says they want to end it. We'll be hearing from Professor Adeyeye after this break, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, sealed over 3,000 shops within Idumota open drug market in Lagos in the first week of operations. The agency says that during the raid, officials uncovered alarming violations, including vaccines stored in dilapidated, unventilated rooms sealed with iron sheets, posing a severe health risk. large consignments of banned and dangerous drugs were also discovered, including anogen injections, diverted HIV and antiretroviral drugs, and expired medicines slated for illegal revalidation. In some other part of the country, we saw what happened, what is going on online about the Onisha drug market also, and some of what has become a major agitation. Well, NAFDAC says is clamping down on some of this. And we also are seeing customs and other agencies clamping down, arresting those who are illegally bringing some drugs, banned substances into the country. Tonight, I'm being joined by the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, is live for us in our Lagos studio. It's a pleasure having you join us tonight. It does look to me, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it looks to me that you and your team, you are on an operation to clamp down on fake drugs in Nigeria, and the illegal importation or sales of some drugs or banned drugs in Nigeria. And we've seen these operations across the country. Is it deliberate? What information do you have that the public needs to know about some of these fake drugs? And what are the data that you can give us tonight that are concerning for you? Because I have some statistics that are worrisome.
Thank you so much, Seun, for inviting me. Mitigation of substandard falsified medicines is in our National Action Plan. It is part and parcel of what we do every day to ensure that our citizens are safe. It's part of our safeguarding. However, we started seeing an upsurge of big volumes of expired drugs, substandard falsified medicines, especially for children. And that was part of why we are doing what we are doing. However, we started this from the onset. My first speech, resumption speech, I mentioned that we're going to ensure that we eliminate substandard falsified medicines in Nigeria. I inherited it was 17% when I got into the country, or when I joined NAFDAC. From our national survey, we do survey every year since 2019. It is about 13% average, meaning adding everything together and taking the mean. So it is because of the fact that people are deliberately falsifying medicines, and some getting through from the ports, from the borders. And we just say that enough is enough. It is also part of our own global benchmarking. It is part of our market control. We have to control our market so that the drugs that our citizens are using are drugs that will make them feel well, not drugs that will kill them.
Now, let me ask, because some of the statistics we have, I mean, I know that you have all of the data. There are reports that indicate that over 70% of drugs sold in some part of Nigeria are counterfeit. Can you provide an overview of the current landscape of fake drugs in the country? That regime seems to be concerning. If that is true, 70% of drugs sold in some part of the country are counterfeit. That is an alarming statistics, isn't it, Professor?
Yes, the 70% prevalence is not right. It is not accurate. Some people are misusing what we found out about oxytocin. This predated me. This was before I joined NAFDAC. Oxytocin is medicine that is used to ensure that when a woman is for induction of labor, to make sure that the woman will deliver safely. We found out, NAFDAC found out at that time, that 70% of oxytocin, not all drugs, 70% were substandard. And why so? Because oxytocin is susceptible to temperature, to humidity. The storage condition was not optimal. Therefore, NAFDAC started training healthcare givers on how to store oxytocin to maintain cold chain. So it is oxytocin, it is not all drugs. I hope that answers your question. So, people have used that 70% so carelessly to the
wrongly.
Very wrongly. Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy that you're able to clarify, and that's why I pushed it to you, because if 70% of drugs in some part of the country are counterfeit, we are in danger.
We're in trouble. That's right.
So give us an understanding. Where are these drugs coming from? In your own findings, some of these fake drugs, are they coming from Nigeria? Are they produced locally, or they are being brought into the country?
Most of the drugs are being brought into the country. And that is part of the reason why we started what is called 5+5, to ensure we have local content, to ensure that our local manufacturers are capacitated to manufacture within. Are we going to manufacture everything locally? No. Before my time, we were importing 70%. The pandemic taught us a lesson. Now we are importing about 60%. So a lot of the falsified medicines are being brought in from outside the country. For Nigerian manufacturers, we stay on their case. If we get a wind that a manufacturer the product is not good, we will shut that company down within 2 hours. We will make sure that they correct whatever needs to be corrected. If they cannot correct, we shut them completely. We have shut some companies down permanently. We have shut companies down for 4 months, 5 months, and when it hurts the pocket, it's a deterrent. So for our local manufacturers, the quality is getting better. But most of the ones that are coming in, or most of the substandard falsified medicines are coming in, the volume is huge. The ones that we have seen in Aba, Osisioma area, the ones that we have seen in Onitsha, it's not local manufacturers. They are being brought in through porous borders and through the ports.
So let me ask quickly, for Nigerians who are watching tonight, you don't know that the next time you are visiting any pharmacy or any, as popularly called, chemists, those backyard, roadside, off the street drug stores, you don't know whether you're buying the next medication you are buying is fake or not. Which of these drugs from your own findings are more likely to be fake, and there are more of it in the market? Which should we be worried about and we need to be more conscious of? Tell us the truth tonight, Prof.
You know, I was at Idumota last week, and I told them that we are doing this for public health, we are doing it for trade, and we are doing it for the image of this country. Public health, trade, and our image to the world. Public health is obvious. For trade, some of our manufacturers, their products are counterfeited. So, the person that is selling something for 13,000 naira, you will see a counterfeiter selling it for 3,000 naira. We found that out in Kano last year. So we are trying to also protect trade. So the ones that there are some counterfeiters in Nigeria too, but most of the counterfeiters and people bringing substandard falsified medicines are coming from outside the country. And we are...
So, Prof, just for a moment, Prof. So there are two things here. There are drugs that are illegal or banned medications, and there are counterfeit, meaning that if there is a medication called Chauvinism, maybe to cure malaria, and the original maker, Sheun Group of Company, is in Lagos, and you find people producing a counterfeit of it, maybe in some other place in Karu, on the border of Abuja, that is on one hand. So we need to be worried about that.
Yes.
What about the effort of those who are bringing drugs that are banned or medications that are banned? How much of that is a worry for you?
It is a worry for NAFDAC because they cannot jump into the country. They come through the ports and borders. And that is part of the reason why for NAFDAC, we need enough staff. We need people to man the border. There are some borders that are not manned because we don't have enough staff. We need a lot of funding because you cannot take Okada to start going from place to place looking for companies or looking for shops that have illegal products. So in terms of how to tackle this, it is for government to also realize that NAFDAC needs a lot of support. We don't bring in only food and drugs, please. We bring in chemicals that can be used to make bombs. The NSA has joined us 100% in these special operations that we're doing. We have 900 forces that are working with us now in the 3 cities, Idumota, Aba, and Onitsha. 900 soldiers, policemen, DSS, working with us day and night. So
Prof, if I may jump in, I have some very quick 3 questions for you, Prof. Very quick ones. One would be, give us an understanding, and the average person watching tonight is going to be worried and panicking about the purchase of medication. Which of these drugs are more popular to be counterfeited that we need to cross-check on?
Okay. Anti-malaria.
Are those popular ones?
Yes, anti-malarials, antibiotics, and children's medicines. That is also part of the reason why we have declared this year maternal, newborn, child health, and nutrition year. Anti-malarials, antibiotics, and oxytocin-like medicines for
Prof,
women.
How do I recognize, Prof? I'm not an expert in that area. So, and I'm worried that a medication might be a counterfeit, a fake medication. How do I recognize when I get to the pharmacy? How do I recognize it?
First, you go to a pharmacy that is reputable, that has the sign, the RX sign on their front door. You don't go to a corner drugstore because it may be cheaper, but it may not be good. So you go to a pharmacy where you can get receipt. Ask for receipt. If it doesn't work, report to NAFDAC. And we have gotten intelligence through that. Report to NAFDAC. With the receipt, we will track where it was bought. From where it was brought, we will track from where it was distributed. So it is making sure that our people are well vast in terms of what to do and how to discriminate bad outlets from good outlets.
Prof, there are videos online of how there are agitation, for example, in Onitsha market, and there are also people who are resisting your operation. What have you found out about some of these, and what is NAFDAC reaction to these resistance and some of the development that have come in your operations?
Well, I expect resistance, first because people that want to sell, they are legitimate distributors in the different areas. And that may cause them restlessness. They may become fidgety. But we are doing this for the good of our people. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria where we're going to do this at this scale. We are doing it for them, for me, for all of us. Because even those people that are sellers, open marketers, they have relatives that may use bad medicine and die. So we are doing this to control the distribution of medicines. Our own partner, sister agency.
So I imagine that in Idumota, in Osisioma, and in Onitsha market, these are the major hubs for distribution, and that's why your operation is targeting them. When are you opening up the Onitsha drug market? Or is it sealed? How long is it going to be sealed? The Idumota market, the Osisioma market, do you have eyes in other places? What is your strategic plan in making sure that you rid this market of some of these fake drugs?
Which is a huge job for Idumota. We are hoping to finish the operation within a week. For Onitsha and Aba, we are extending it further because it is a huge operation. For Onitsha, very huge. For Aba, we may finish a little earlier, but that is not the only stop or the only thing we're going to do. We're going to make sure that our sister agency, Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, that is in charge of licensing anywhere drugs are sold, that is in charge of licensing the practitioner or the seller. We're going to work with them so that distributors will be given license. Patent medicine dealers are not supposed to aggregate by the mandate of Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, our sister agency. They're not supposed to aggregate. They're supposed to be in the community, and that will be settled later.
So those chemists, the so-called, the popular, the chemists, the small drug stores, in the streets, in the inner street that you find in most part of local communities, rural communities in Nigeria, are these also licensed to sell medication in Nigeria? And there are those who will say, if you go to Ethiopia, for example, Prof,
yes, there
are medications you cannot buy over the counter.
You're right.
In Nigeria, you can buy nearly any medication over the counter.
That's right.
And it's dangerous, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. You really strike the point here. Unfortunately, we brought this on ourselves as a country. We brought this on ourselves because Pharmacy Council of Nigeria is supposed to be in charge of site licensing and practitioner licensing. However, we made it open for everybody. So we have millions of patent medicine dealers right now. When I came back to the country 2017, I said, when did this madness start? Because I left the country 37 years before. It was not like that. So what the patent medicine dealers did was to take Pharmacy Council of Nigeria to court for 10 years. That was what first started the whole thing. That was what precipitated what we are seeing right now. So for 10 years, they could not do anything until February of last year.
Yeah. So sorry, we are totally out of time and we need to go. And I think that we need to declare a state of emergency on our borders, especially in relation to drug and in these markets where they are selling these counterfeit drugs. But Prof, if you can help me, just in 30 seconds, because I know part of your mandate is also on food control. A lot of Nigerians are bothered about genetically modified food, GMO foods. Are they in the Nigerian market? Are we at the risk in this country over GMO food? Are they dangerous to our health? Just in 30 seconds so that we can close.
Well, we work with our sister agency that is in charge of genetically modified food or bio, foods, things like that. We are working with them to ensure that whatever they declare unfit, we will declare unfit. We are signing an MOU, working as a committee or within a committee to ensure that GMO foods that they declare as unsafe, we will not register. Again, we have so many foods now that we don't even know which one is GMO or not, but it has to be labeled. If it is labeled on, on the packaging, we will be careful. We will refer that to our sister agency. So in terms of GMO, it is our sister agency that is usually in charge of that. If they said it's okay, we will take it. If not, we will not take it. And so far, it's been working very well.
Thank you so much, Prof. I think the message tonight to all Nigerians is that if you see any medication, don't trust it 100% until you verify. I think there used to be an application on the mobile phone to verify fake or counterfeit, counterfeit or original medications. It'll be good. We will help you. We'll partner with you on Channel Television with NAFDAC to help you with these counterfeit and information against it. But Prof, thank you so much, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, the Director General of NAFDAC, and thanks for the good job.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.